Eala wraps up ASB Classic stint with a semi-final finish. By Leobert Julian, de la Pena. Eala's WTA 250 ASB Classic tournament campaign came to an end after suffering a semi-final loss to China's Wang Xinyu, 7-5, 5-7, 4-6, on January 10, 2026, in Auckland, New Zealand. Despite staging a comeback for the ages after bucking a 0-4 start to seal a 7-5 first-set victory, Eala was handed a different fate in the last two frames after Wang showed tremendous poise under pressure, sweeping sets 2 and 3 to run away with the come-from-behind semis win. Fresh off a morale-boosting quarterfinal win against former world number 19 Magda Linette, the Filipina tennis ace couldn't sustain her momentum against Wang and was undone by a string of unforced errors, followed by a heartbreaking missed opportunity to close out the match after taking a 40-30 match point in the 8th game of the second set. The 20-year-old WTA phenom kicked off the semi-final showdown showing grit and resilience after erasing Wang's early double-break lead, 4-0. After tasting her first service hold of the game to get on board, 5-1, Eala pulled off a stunning effort to climb back as she countered with a demoralizing 4-0 run to equalize the opener at 5-all. It was then all Eala as the Filipina blanked Wang in the last two games, scoring a much-needed service hold to take a 6-5 cushion before breaking the Chinese to bag the impressive 1-0 lead. The following set mirrored the first half of action during the opener as Wang once again stormed to a comfortable 3-1 lead. However, Eala followed the script to inch closer through a series of service breaks and even moved a point away from clinching the game when she led 5-3, 40-30. Eala unfortunately fumbled her chance to seal the deal, allowing Wang to generate more room for a topspin backhand to force a deuce. That moment proved to be the jolt of electricity Wang needed to stay composed as she stole the set away from Eala en route to a 7-5 second set win to tie the semis clash at 1-all. Wang smelled blood in the third and final set and cruised to early domination with a 4-0 lead but had to endure another fightback from Eala, who managed to pull within 5-4. When every Filipino hopeful thought that Eala could replicate her first set magic, Wang saw enough and dealt the exclamation point with a service hold to cap off the grueling 3-set victory. It was a crazy battle from the start to the end. "She's an absolute fighter," Wang said of Eala during her post-game interview. "And to be honest, I feel more pressured when I'm 5-0 up. Just really happy that I took this one today. In my first ever final." Eala wraps up ASB Classic stint with a semi-final finish. In Auckland, where the wind carries the salt of the Pacific and the courts shimmer under a summer sky, Eala played tennis that felt like a conversation with the future. Each rally at the ASB Classic was a sentence still being written, each point a promise, sometimes kept, sometimes deferred, but always spoken with courage. When her run ended in the semifinals, it did not feel like a full stop. It felt like a comma. For Eala, the week was less about the destination than the distance covered. The scoreboard recorded a semi-final finish, but the courts bore witness to something larger. A young player learning how to occupy space among the best, how to breathe when the margins tighten, how to turn belief into muscle memory. In Auckland, she did not borrow confidence. She built it, point by point. The ASB Classic has long been a place where careers stretch their legs after the off-season, where veterans sharpen blades and newcomers test their footing. For Eala, it became a proving ground, a canvas where she painted with variety and resolve. She arrived carrying the quiet weight of expectations from home and the louder, more personal hunger to grow. What unfolded was a week of measured aggression and emotional maturity, a blend that suggested a player no longer content to be described by potential alone. From the opening rounds, Eala's tennis spoke a fluent, modern dialect. Her left-handed forehand unfurled with a whip-like arc, heavy enough to bend rallies in her favor, while her backhand, compact and precise, served as a metronome, keeping time when chaos threatened. She moved with intention, sliding into corners, choosing patience when the point demanded it and audacity when the opening appeared. There was an ease to her court coverage that belied the tension of the moment, an economy of motion that whispered confidence. Yet tennis is never just about the strokes. It is about the conversations players have with themselves in the quiet between points. In Auckland, Eala's inner dialogue sounded steady. When errors crept in, she reset with a tug at her strings, a glance at the baseline, a deep breath that seemed to say, again. When momentum swung away, she did not chase it recklessly. She waited, knowing it would circle back if she held her nerve. The semifinal, in particular, was a study in contrasts, speed and patience, fire and restraint. Against an opponent seasoned in the rhythms of the tour, Eala found herself pressed to the edges of her game. The rallies stretched longer, the windows narrowed. There were moments when the match asked her to choose, force the issue or trust the process. She did both at different times, learning where each belonged. In the tight exchanges, her serve became a statement. Not overpowering, but purposeful, placed with care, mixed with enough variation to keep returners guessing. The first ball opened doors. The second step through them required bravery. Eala took that step often, stepping inside the baseline to dictate, trusting her timing even when the reward was not immediate. Of course, semifinals are cruel teachers. They reveal gaps as clearly as strengths. In the final passages, when the pressure rose and the margins shrank to threads, experience tilted the balance. A few points slipped. A few chances went unclaimed. The handshake came sooner than she would have wished. But defeat here did not diminish the week. It clarified it. What lingered after the applause faded was not disappointment, but direction. The ASB Classic offered Eala a mirror, and she looked into it without flinching. She saw the player she is, and the one she is becoming. She saw that her game can absorb pace and still respond with creativity, that her temperament can weather swings and still choose composure. She saw that semifinal weekends are not walls, but thresholds. Beyond the lines, the significance of her run rippled outward. For fans watching from afar, especially those who see in her a reflection of their own aspirations, Eala's week was a reminder that pathways can be forged with patience and poise. Representation matters, yes, but so does the craft that sustains it. In Auckland, she honored both. There is a particular poetry to tennis weeks like this. They arrive without guarantees and leave with lessons. They teach a player how to manage mornings and nights, how to recover, how to prepare for unfamiliar opponents, how to sit with nerves without letting them drive. They teach the difference between wanting and being ready. By the end of the ASB Classic, Eala looked more ready than ever. As she packed her bags, the courts returned to their quiet routines. The ball kids folded towels. The lines were swept. But the echoes remained, of forehands struck clean, of defenses turned into offense, of a young athlete standing tall in the semifinal light. The record books will note a semifinal finish. The game, however, recorded something richer. Alex Eala.